Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a supernatural American horror film, The Unborn. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a woman named Casey, and we can see her running in a park. She stops to rest and spots a glove. She turns back and sees a creepy young boy directly looking at her. We can notice the boy is having bright blue eyes and pale skin. Suddenly, the boy disappears and instead we see a dog wearing a mask. Casey follows the dog into the trees and spots the same mask lying on a pile of leaves. She starts examining the mask and uncovers a jar holding a human embryo inside. As the camera pans in, the embryo suddenly opens its eyes and scares her. In the next scene, we can see Casey babysitting her neighbor's kids while talking with her friend named Romy, and she tells her about the strange encounter. Her friend says that seeing babies are a sign of change and renewal, but she says that she doesn't know the meaning of the sign when a baby is kept in a jar. Then Casey asks for the meaning of seeing a dog, and Romy says that in mythology dogs are seen as the messenger of the dead. After this, Romy asks about the two kids that Casey is babysitting. Suddenly, Casey hears running sounds coming from upstairs, and hears the elder kid named Maddie, speaking something on the baby monitor. Casey goes up the stairs and checks the kids. To her shock, she sees the elder one showing a mirror to the newborn baby. Casey confronts him and asks him what he was doing, but he doesn't reply. Casey goes near Maddie and tells him to go to bed. But suddenly, he smashes the mirror on her head and tells her that Jumby wants to be born now. Later, her neighbors arrive, and they apologize for their son's behavior. Casey leaves their house in shock, and while on the way, she sees the same gloves lying on the road. Casey reaches her home, and her dad asks if she wants some of the cheesecake he's having. But Casey refuses his offer and heads to her room. In her room, she washes up and goes to bed. Suddenly, she hears a knock coming from her mirror, but when she opens it, she doesn't see anything. The next morning, we can see her making some scrambled eggs, and when she cracks open an egg, an insect comes out and scares the shit out of her. She takes the pan and dumps it into the sink. She gets confused when she looks out the window and sees Maddie staring at her. Later, Casey meets up with her friends, and Romy tells her of a superstition that newborns should not see their own reflections in the mirror, or else they will die soon. But the group make fun of her for saying stuff like that. Sometime later, we can see them attending a lecture, and suddenly Casey's vision starts to blur. She sees the same creepy sentence, "Jumby wants to be born," written on the board. She even sees the sentence written multiple times, written in her notebook. Suddenly, she gets a vision of the embryo in the jar, and an insect climbs on her hand. She gets startled by this and leaves the lecture. In the next scene, the director decided to show a cinematic scene of her bathing. Later in the changing room, Romy finds that something is wrong with Casey's eye and tells her to visit a doctor. So Casey visits a doctor, and he explains that she might have heterochromia, meaning one eye color is different from the other. Then the doctor says that it might be caused by a blunt force trauma, and adds that on rare occasions, it might be a malignant melanoma. Then the doctor inserted a speculum to keep her eyelid open, and proceeds to take few pictures of her eye. Casey and her boyfriend Mark leave the hospital, and she gives him some good news, saying that they can play the hormone game, because her dad's not going to be home until tomorrow morning. Suddenly, she sees the same kid from her visions, who is standing across the road and staring right at her. But he soon disappears when a car passes by. In the next scene, Casey and her hormone partner are seen lying on the bed. But unfortunately, we don't get to see any hormone let-go scenes in the movie. He asks her if she believes there is an afterlife, to which she replies no. Casey gets upset and thinks about her past memory. We get to know that her mother was admitted to a mental asylum. Mark comforts her by giving her a passionate tongue massage. Later, Casey looks into the mirror and notices her eyes have changed color even more. When she leaves the restroom, she hears a knock coming from the mirror. She slowly approaches the mirror and opens it. But she doesn't find anything in the mirror, so she closes it. Before she even leaves, she hears the knocking sounds again from the mirror. So she goes back and opens it. But this time, she finds the young boy screaming. This scares the shit and hormones out of her. Mark rushes in after hearing her screaming, and she tells him about the boy. But when he opens it, he doesn't find anyone in it. Casey gets tired of this shit and removes the mirror from her restroom. The next day, we can see her running on her street, and she stops near her neighbor's house. She sees people gathering around the house, and one of them tells her that the baby was found dead. We find that the death of the infant further supports the superstition. Before leaving, she once again finds Maddie staring at her through a window. Later that day, she visits the doctor, and he asks her if she is a twin, to which she says that she isn't. But the doctor advises her that she might want to see a genetic counselor, just to be on the safer side. Casey visits her father, and tells him about her eye test results. She asks him if she had a twin. Her father admits that she had a twin brother years ago, but he had died while he was in the womb, because Casey's umbilical cord had strangled him. Casey gets frustrated after knowing this, and questions him if that's the reason why her mother had killed herself. Her father denies the reason, and says that her mother was clinically ill, and says that's why she had committed suicide. Then Casey asks if her brother had a name, to which he replies that he and her late mother had nicknamed him Jumby. In the next scene, Casey looks at the old photo albums of her family, and notices a photo missing from the album. She opens another file, and finds some newspaper cutouts. In one of them, she finds the name, Sophie Cosma. She looks at a photo, and sees the same young boy from her visions, standing beside her pregnant mother. The next day, Casey and her friend Romy go together, to find the woman named Sophie, from the newspaper cutting. They speak with the receptionist, and she directs them to Sophie's room. While on the way, Romy sees an old man, and says that she doesn't even want to get old. Sophie comes out of her room, replying that nobody wants to get old. She introduces the old man by telling them that his name is Walker, and he had suffered a stroke, which left him paralyzed from his waist down. Sophie invites them into her room, and they find her room very homely. Casey notices an empty spot on the wall, and questions about it. Sophie tells them that a mirror used to be there, and she had asked it to be removed. To their surprise, she asks Casey if she is a twin. Casey tells her that she had a twin brother, but he had died in the womb. Casey tells her mother's name was Janet, and she shows Sophie the news cutting and the picture of her mother. Casey shows Sophie the picture and asks her if she knew her mother. After looking at the picture, Sophie gets weird and tells them to get out. A few moments later, Casey wonders how Sophie had known that she was a twin. Later at the parking lot, Casey informs Romy that the newborn had died, just like Romy's superstition. She also tells her that the neighbor's kid Maddie said the name Jumby, which her parents had nicknamed Casey's unborn brother. Later at Casey's home, Mark starts an old film reel, and they watch it together. Casey watches the film, and tells Mark that it was the same asylum where her mother was admitted. Right before the reel ends, we can see a doorknob rattling. Later that night, they go to a nightclub, and meet up with their friends. Mark goes to the bar, and Casey's vision blurs again. She sees the creepy kid, and he suddenly screams. She gets scared and goes into the bathroom. Suddenly, she feels nauseous and starts vomiting. She sees a hole in the wall, and looks through it. Immediately, many insects start coming out from it, and swarm the place. She starts screaming and runs out, but finds the door locked. Many insects start coming out from all the pipes, and to Casey's shock, her mother walks out from a stall. Casey starts screaming even more, and luckily her friends arrive. But when they come into the room, all the surroundings turn back to normal. Later that night, Romy tells Casey to put a pair of scissors with the 2 points open under her pillow, and says that her grandmother used to do this, since it kept evil spirits away. Sometime later, Casey wakes up and finds herself stuck to the ceiling, while seeing herself lying on the bed. Suddenly, the creepy kid comes out from the bedsheet, and starts tearing open her stomach. Fortunately, she wakes up, and we can see that it's only a nightmare. A few moments later, Sophie calls Casey, and says that she has to say something really important to her. Casey visits Sophie the next day, and to her shock, Casey learns that Sophie is her grandmother. Sophie further explains that as a child, she had a twin brother named Bardo, and that they both were used in a Nazi experiment, which was conducted by a doctor named Joseph. These experiments were conducted in Auschwitz during World War II. She further adds that during one of the experiments, her brother had died. But a few days later, a demon named Dybbuk had entered her brother's body, and used it as a portal to come into the world of the living. So Sophie had to kill her own twin to stop the demon, and now the demon haunts her family for revenge. Then Sophie gives Casey a Hamza amulet, and says that it is for protection. She even instructs Casey to destroy all mirrors, and then burn the shards. Sophie refers to a man named Rabbi Joseph Sendak, and says that he can perform a Jewish exorcism to exorcise the demon out of Casey's soul. Later that day, Casey meets up with Sendak, and tells him of her problems. Initially, he does not believe Casey's story, and tells her to go away. The next day, he sees a dog with its head twisted upside down and realizes that Casey's words were true. Back at the retirement home, the demon goes into Mr. Walker's body and kills Sophie. Casey learns that Romy might be in danger, so she and her boyfriend go to Romy's place to warn her. Unfortunately, they are too late, and the demon enters the body of Maddie and kills Romy. When Casey and Mark come inside, they both see the demon and realize that it has gotten even stronger. The next day, Sendak introduces them to a priest named Arthur, and they go to an abandoned place along with other volunteers to begin the exorcism. During the process, the demon attacks them and kills several members. The demon possesses the priest and begins to chase Casey and Mark. The demon catches up to them and starts attacking them. After quite a struggle, Mark manages to knock out Arthur, but instead he gets possessed by the demon. Casey stabs Mark in the neck using the amulet and starts running away. Finally, Sendak and Casey manage to successfully draw the demon out of the human world, but unfortunately, Mark falls off the ledge and dies during the separation. A few days later, she takes a pregnancy test and finds out that she is pregnant with Mark's twins. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Peace out.